So we're gonna get started now. Thank you all of you for joining in this beautiful Tuesday. It could be good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are. It's great to have you here. This is one of the many sessions we are basically debuting this year around getting started with. So basically, it's a series of different live on ServiceNow webinars to talk about basically how does that MVP product looks like, right? How do you implement that? Especially now that we are in CRM, right? It's a very exciting time to, like we said, that MVP or maybe that most lovable product as they call it for phase one, right? And all those challenges and all those complexities so we can deliver these scalable, high performing, and also easy, right? To not only use but also implement in the world of AI. So this is a quick introduction. I'm Fernando. This is your speaker today. I've been on the environment for over a decade, the past 2 years with the ServiceNow company, but in the partner ecosystem and even as a customer. So I've been on many of your shoes. I understand both sides. um, I personally touch around 50% of all of our global CSM accounts, and I had around 25 artifacts out there on Now Create or what is going to be our future best practice library. So you're going to see those. Yeah, they have existed kind of recently, I would say. But yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Like I said, I'm in Los Angeles. So just getting the day started here. All right. So this is our agenda for today. We have an hour. We're just going to introduce some concepts. We're going to talk about the why. Why did we build these data models? And what are these data models? And then we're going to come all the way through a demo and then just show you some of these actions in real life. And then we're going to wrap it up after that, right? So always, it wouldn't be a good PM presentation if we do not have the safe harbor. So again, take a quick read at this. There could be concepts and things that we're planning to that might not be live yet, but this is the obviously don't take any purchasing decisions based on that. So and like I said, it is a series of live on service now. So make sure that you join. We have the link there on the chat, right, for the next sessions. And just very quickly, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen along the way. This will be recorded. This is actually getting recorded and also shared on the ServiceNow community. So you should be able to find that. And we have the link right there in the chat. After the event, you will be prompted to fill out a short survey. I appreciate your responses if I did a good job and I'm providing you value, right? So having said that, let's actually get into the content. So this right here is truly our strategy from 2025 forward, right? We're able to basically bring this end-to-end customer service because we're built on the AI platform for business transformation. What that means is that we have, as always, a single system of action where you're bringing all types of workflows on your technology landscape. In this case, um, we're focusing here on CRM, right? On this piece that is really evolved, right? We started on the CSM world, just support, and now we also have that piece of lead to cash and invoicing and sales. Is this piece up here, right? So I hope everyone at this point knows that we do more than IT, and also that we're really trying to get the AI to be as not only secure but as intelligent per what you have on your environment, no matter what kind of work that you do. And this is our unique advantage, right? That we look at those employee and customer different workflows engaging effortlessly. At the same time, right, we should always remember that this is at the foundation of the platform is an infrastructure, right? And this layer is where we bring your choice to adapt to your needs. It could be highly regulated industry or adhering to strict data residency requirements. Maybe you're starting with a leading hyperscaler, or you go all the way to specific commitments on cloud or on premise. We, of course, know you have existing IT investments. Some of them are at the bottom, and we integrate all of these apps, right? And we talk to them. We become a control tower for all of them. Each of these discrete line of business apps, are really the hornet's nest, right? And this is where we come in, and then we, instead of spending years and millions of dollars on migrating systems and bringing technology that delivers immediate value, this is exactly, our purpose is bringing this mantra that we're going to keep on talking about today: AI, workflow, and data, as we go deeper. All right. Now, that's from a company perspective. Now, from our CRM perspective, like I said, we have mapped out uh, not only that we are excitingly in the CRM space, but also we have a competitive advantage, which is we manage the entire life cycle of your customers with these big, great set of principles and composability and recyclability of objects. And this is actually from as you can see here from top to bottom. This is where we start, right? We start with these industry products that you might be hearing about: public sector for PSDS, technology TPSM, manufacturing CO, healthcare HCLS, retail. We have RO and RSM, telco, TSM, and financial services FSO, right? We have different SKUs for them. We like a good SKU. But these are based out of sales and order management, customer service management, and field service management. These are what we call our horizontal products, right? That basically power up these industry products. Under that, you'll find, from a customer engagement perspective, putting a lot of investment on the front office on making self-service, omni-channel, and even assisted help be as great as it can be. And then the CRM foundation, right? Which is where you have certain objects that have an impact basically on any of these three products, horizontally, right here, right? And also on the industry products. So today's session, this is what we're focusing on, right? Like I said, on the transactional and master data objects, not all of them, I just highlighted some, and the impact of them on a predictive. What makes us different, right? I said the mantra before, I'll say it again, right? It's we have AI agents, we have data, and we have workflows. And this is a recipe, right, with its secret ingredients. Because AI, it's going to be as smart as not only the platform, but even the data that is on that platform, right? And we do both. We bring the platform together to automate it through workflows, and then we bring the highlight, right, of actually processing the data. So it's not just a chatbot, right? It is more than that. It is an intelligent and very sophisticated orchestration of end-to-end business processes that are not, digital transform anymore, right? We went through that the past decade, where it was a lot of lift and shift. If you are on roles that are related to process, right, like a BA, a VPC, say all of these elements are going to be of extreme importance for your implementations, because this is where we leverage our AI agents across all of these areas. And in order for these AI agents to truly transfer the business, they need to have not only the right set of data, but also go through the actual business transformation of that process, right? So we have, again, a focus today on data. We will have, again, other sessions where we might focus more on AI agents. Probably see you in that one, since that's my main product. But workflows also, we're gonna have a deep dive into that. So today we're just focused on data, but as I said, there's something bigger to be had in here. And I'll just highlight this very, I think, important statistic, which is 80%, 83% of our executives agree that AI success depends on unifying multiple data sources. So you cannot really think AI without data, and vice versa. So why do we build these data models? You may be asking, Fernando, why do we even need to talk about data models, right? So let me take you all the way to the back. Uh, we all started right at the beginning with unstructured work, right? That's where the first few years of CSM really made a difference, right? Maybe you went over your IT business, and now you're ready to go into customer service. Now your CRM turns one in, but you run into this, right? And the fundamental problem was always that the work isn't structured, leading to substantial waste for complex requests. So what we did with service management was to solve the challenge of complex requests by providing a means of defining units of work as tasks, right? And streamlining those processes via workflows, standardization. And then you bring knowledge, you bring catalog, and you're forcing these four objects on the top, right? who is calling, who is engaging, right? Omni-channel, who needs help, needs something new. What do they need? Why do they need it? And how are we gonna bring that, right? That's through the workflow. And that's once again how all of our industry data models and these many different uh, uh, products work together. So we pair this up with AI, right? As you can see here on the AI agent, and then your data workflows are all tied up into a contextual point of view. But from a customer and partner perspective, this has happened. These four buckets you see here. We've noticed a misconception, right? ServiceNow products look similar, and applications might be implemented in the same or similar way, but not the scoping, not the use cases. It's users or tech stack. So if you don't know what you have, you'll build it, right? So we create this data model so you don't have to, because usually this happens, right? If I can implement software, I can do ServiceNow, and that's not true. If I know how to do ITSM, I know how to do CRM because it's the same platform, right? It's a task-based record. Well, not really. We have different best practices, different rules. I use objects and modules intended for a different purpose, right? Or it's I start duplicating functionality that already exists out of box, or because it's out of the box, then we should all use it, right? Which is an ITSM principle, actually. That's not a CRM principle. So you combine this, right? Because process and technology will go hand in hand, and you may be looking at your existing knowledge, at your existing process, and then that is just more complexity, and you will end up customizing. That's what happens all the time, right? This is really the villain of the story right there, that customization, and it will have an impact on your strategy through your executives, the ROI of the tool, bad visibility and managed risk. Businesses cannot work due to service disruptions, poor UX that is irrelevant to when they log in. Operations, right? Since data and intelligence are not shared, then silos eliminate collaboration. Too many tasks, maybe poor metrics, no accountability, non-scalable solutions. Everyone is doing their own thing. Um, and then there's a culture of confusion, right? Loss of information leading to frustration. And self-service is not that better experience that we were promised, right? So there's an apathy and lack of trust against the system. And, it's not what it was intended. So how do we, clean this up and fix this? So again, we have to bring it back to the most atomic level of the ServiceNow platform, right? Which is I like to call it it's built on Legos, right? One of those little rectangle Legos, right? It's think about it as a task record, and you have all of these action and service being managed through it. Tasks are pre-built to get work flowing instantly with these common associations to share data elements, right? Such as a location, a user, a group, a service, a product. And these tasks have also a specific built-in functionality, right? Like activity logs, you can bring integrations through Workflow Data Fabric. You have SLAs, right? And this powerful architecture is what makes the Now platform be a true system of action, right? Because it's all within the single platform, and the piece of integrations is just optional. It's all built within this first principles philosophy. But we run into this, right, all the time. Speaking of Legos, bear with me. If you're a very skillful kid or adult, I should say, right, you build a house with a pile of bricks. This might happen, right? Depending on the box you have, depending on what they ask, those business units might be asking from you as a platform owner, as a customer that owns CRM, or even as an implementer, right? There's a different interpretation of what a house is. They have the flexibility to do so. This is just very common in CRM and the platform. Not every business operates the same way or has the same needs. So we gave you that flexibility. There can be a dispute process for finance, maybe a service process for manufacturing, maybe a recall and RMA. But we notice once again that all of them have a common set of brick relationships. However, customer was trying to build the same initial thing over and over again. And you don't want, at the end of the day, a house for one business unit versus another business unit, or for IT, or for HR, or for customer service, right? We aim to give you a leading practice framework which is aligned to that value based vision that we talked earlier. And the real ask is what you're being asked is build me a town, right? What the company actually needs, right, is where they can coexist and enables continuity, but also personalization. And our vision is to give you these instructions and specialized, pre-made, varied Lego pieces here on the sides, right? To achieve these instead of just the typical bricks, which were manufactured by us also, right? And these are, in a simple metaphor here, those are our CRM foundational data models. Interpretations of many common objects through extensions, made for purpose that assure consistency no matter where you are, all right? So that I will tell you from my personal experience in every escalation or assessment, we have when we see a lagging implementation, that we see that trend, right? There's a level of lack of or maybe not even usage of these data models correctly. And again, we understand you start with the house first, right? Maybe with IT or maybe with another ServiceNow products, but you want to use these same Legos to create a foundation architecture, but also use the correct pieces that come with CRM. And so that is what makes the difference between a leading and lagging implementation. And this is important to do on day one because that's the trick and mastery is not only knowing how to build these rectangles, right, but how to build them together smartly, right, using instructions and all of those specialized pieces that give you a scalable base so you can build those towns, those utilities, right, that are connecting everything. And if you keep customizing, you're practically redoing the platform, right? If you, for example, go on and grab the location object directly or the user object directly without going through these data models, you're basically replatforming. And if you want to move over your custom work to out of the box, it will cost you more at the long term and more as you snowball just because your custom house won't fit the platform's vision and roadmap. So these are the objects, right, that we consider foundational, right? These are core objects on the Now platform: users, support groups, contracts, roles and responsibilities, processes, product models, locations, company, business units, lifecycle, dashboards, product catalog. And the problems again that we see when you use some of these directly without its counterpart on the data model is that there's disparate data, right, across applications. And so that obviously limits the AI and automation capabilities. Process become inefficient because of those silos. And then you might have performance issues, right? Plus tech debt and security gaps. So when you start using these data models, you have scalability and complexity. You're building discipline, right? That's very important. You're building discipline on data input while automating relationships across processes, objects, and at the same time, you're doing a rationalization of that efficiency within the automation, right? And downtime reduction, reporting, and even your GRC are more compliant. It's cleaner data. I trust the system more. And the benefits is that obviously now you are going to the nirvana of building that unified model that you can use for CSDM across the entire platform. You can be more efficient. You see maintenance being lower and lower because we're giving you the tools, right, that we expect you to be using, and then those tools get enhanced with time. So once again, this is the journey, right, from problems to solutions. And now you might be saying, but Fernando, what are these foundational data models, right? Like let's bring it back. So the ideal flow of work is that, like I said before, people always need something new or something is broken, and they contact us, right? For two main things. Now, on the new world, your agents might have an AI agent. It's an orchestrator. Think about it as a traffic controller, and then you have all these planes, right, that need to be landed, and they're going to be used. All these different AI agents that are basically being a twin of the human agent that are being supervised, or maybe they're running autonomously. So on that process, we need to define who. Could be a customer, it could be an agent fulfilling an organization, a contractor, right? We're defining what is happening. Is it a sole product? Is it a sole service? Is it an installation, right? An instantiation, something that we haven't even sold. But maybe I also need to know the why. I need support. I need actually a MACD, right? I need to pay for this. Maybe I need a field tech on site. And the how, right? The typical workflow, the skills. Maybe I need to do some rack search. Maybe I need to power up my knowledge. And these four who, what, why, and how is what once again define from our perspective these data models. Starting with the who, that's what we call customer data foundation. You'll see a link for some best practice on that on the chat. When we talk about CDF, Gonna start mentioning CDF. That means Customer Data Foundation. We're talking about accounts, contacts, consumers, households, right? And then you'll see at the same time the B2B2E architecture, right? So someone basically supporting someone else, with a business to business relationship first with an enterprise, and then that person supporting their employees, right? So John contacts Boxy, right? And then the second one is Service Model Foundation, which is those groups that could be either selling or supporting, right? It could be service organizations that are, it could be internal, they could be external, they could be locations, they could be just, physically a store, a franchise, a dealership, or it could be just a group or a level, right? Like a division. And then you have your outsourced providers, people that you have fully outsourced the contact center or so on. In that data model, we are able to support B2B2C, so support consumers through a business first, and then we support that business. And businesses can support each other. And you have the example right there, right? So the same John that contacted us from Boxio gets after our support by this contact center vendor, Walker Inc., which is an OSP, and may also be supported by a local branch of our implementation group. OSP meaning outsourced service provider. Um, so that's one part, and then we also have these other questions. So not only who we are servicing externally, who is being serviced besides the central support contact center team, right? But also who do you need to serve internally that may have a customer impact, right? And again, when we say internally, we mean on the fulfiller side, we mean maybe they don't have to be fulfillers. They could just be people that are a part of the operations that, might be a third party that, they're helping you basically fulfill those needs. So Lisa, who is a service org member, gets support either by other branches, which are other service orgs, local external support groups, or our central contact center, which was on the basically the same contact center as option one that you see here. So those are the who's, right? So hopefully this clarifies that CSM does not only, I should say, even on the world of CRM, we do not only support external contacts or external parties, but also internal ones. They may be part of, again, that value chain, that are part of how you deliver service, and that might have a brand or, once again, impact on your customer operations. That doesn't mean, and let me be super clear with this, that doesn't mean that you're not going to do HR or IT and now everything's going to go through this, right? It doesn't mean that now your GBS is through CSM, right? We're not saying that at all. What we're saying is that person can be different personas, right? And they might have personal payroll issues on the employee service center with HRSD application, but that's not the other hat that I have here as an employee that is mostly a worker persona, right? That is assisting customers in a store. And they are the same user, but once again, through data models, you have different hats within the same user. All right. And then we have Customer Product Foundation. This is a new name that we're introducing, formerly known as Install Based Management. Basically, is where we have sold products, which are basically those instantiations commercially that you track. And as a product, you track what's commercially happening, MACDs and so on. And then on the other side, you have install base item to help with anything technical or non-commercial. And of course, we have contracts, entitlements that are tracked through these. So, if we saw a triple play corporate package, that's a sole product, but that package might have, an internet connection, a router, right? As you bought it and it has been deployed, that's an IBI, right? That's an install base item. And finally, the why. That's what we resolve with case management, where you have a scope apps for case types. You tie them back to that entire services and product models through service definitions. I'll show you a graphic in a second around this, where you're looking at escalations, doing process mining, and so on. All right. And then, like I was saying before, all of these have an effect on our core tables, right? So CDF, like as I was saying before, Customer Data Foundation is writing and sending information on company. It does, a whole class around user. Same with SMF, right? We do have optionally a connection to company, and every time you do a member, that's touching the user table, right? And every time you put an address, that's going into the common location table. You might even have support groups, right, that you want to synchronize with those organizations over there. And then on install-based management, right, or customer product foundation, you have again the concept of product model that we refer to. That's the best practice. Always start with a product model, which could be a service, right? And then synchronize that with CI and asset through a concept we released in Washington of last year called product instance domain (PID), and that allows the life cycle and these different objects to be synced up as needed. From a case management perspective, right, obviously we're touching the task table, right? They're extended from tasks. Again, workflows, playbooks, scripts, catalog, knowledge are all related with those. And very important, all of these, being an account or a consumer, an organization, a sold product or install base item, a case type, we have extended, right, all of them into each of our industry data models in the industry SKUs. So technology might talk about enterprise and consumer. They have service bridge for this. Maybe it's a customer success team. Maybe that what is X as a service, licenses, managed services. We have actually a case type that we ship out of the box for technology support. Telcos, financial services. So you can see how the names change a little bit, branches, agency, and advisors here. Um, and you can see the different personas, the different processes, right? Same with public sector, right? Where it's really that who is a local business or a constituent instead of a consumer. Instead of calling these service organizations, right, we call them agencies in many of these context of what we have on PSDS. And then NACLS, again, you don't call someone a company necessarily, it's a healthcare provider. And you don't call them a consumer, they're mostly a patient. And then you can see how, we have some other examples of ancillary or health and lab services, medical devices, and so on. On retail, right, we have volume buyers or shoppers. We have built a retail data model, right, again, as an extension of that SMF-based model. And then points of sale systems, store opening processes. And finally, on manufacturing, right, we put on an example here of a fleeted driver versus a service center versus a dealership versus an electric car versus a recall process that you might have a case type for that. So hopefully that illustrates the plethora of options that CSM brings, right? And we build all of these again on that a CRM foundation for your needs. All of them working together is very interesting because it's again the data it's being used as what it was intended. You define your customer organization externally through CDF, right? Accounts, contacts, consumers, households. As we talked about, you may have requesters or stakeholders. And again, the customer is just the definition is just someone who gets service. So therefore, you might also have internal customers or the service or sales organization that are providing some sort of support or activities that are customer facing. They could be requesters there. You could also have stakeholders, but also fulfillers. And then all these types of tickets go through omni-channel, right? They'll have their own dedicated portals. I'll show you some of those in a second. You might have case types to divide those processes as scope apps, and then service definitions that, like I said earlier, bring these either sold product or install base item objects tied to the product model back to the CMDB, but also tied to do separation of processes per the person that is requesting for service, right? So if I'm a customer, I should know from an agent perspective that these are the type of case types that apply to them. So that's what that does. Again, front, middle, and back offices. Some examples over here, what they look like. Once again, the front office, another type of front office, such as like a dealership, can be mapped here, and then they can get support from here too, directly. Um, and then used only as needed, you have these related request, problem change, and incident records, right? Not everyone will need to use that all the time. You will only use them when it's truly required. Change and incident, you will only use them once again when you need that extra back office support, right? You always should attempt to resolve at a case level, at a first contact resolution level. And you may use request and problem for non-IT things, but mostly they will be for IT workflows. And then finally, you have a full integration with FSM, so you can have a work order, you can do scheduling and dispatching, parts and skills that are all synchronized, customer project management, where you have a project and programs, working with our, better together play with CSM. And finally, your proactive service ops, right? Which is how you connect ITOM and monitoring systems to do discovery or monitoring, creating events, alerts, then creating incidents, and then creating cases or major cases as needed. So this is the end-to-end architecture. I know it's a lot, but we put some best practices of these in the chat, so you feel free to download them. So once again, more than contact central corporate support, right? The contact center. We support middle offices, sales and marketing, right? Finance and accounting middle offices, partners and resellers, contractors, part-timers, right? And we do that through case management, right? Where you have a simplified service management piece for customer collaboration, where you have flexibility on the uniqueness of the process, security, the data, the metrics that you need under that. You can also personalize the customer experience, as I said before, with service definitions, unlimited use cases on the service catalog, and then you can, of course, route them through AI-based complex rule through advanced work assignment. In terms of the who, we talked about CDF, right? All these different hierarchies you can be building, relationships, responsibilities. With SMF, we have how you model your organizations, that business to employee, internal customers, right? Where we're looking at the effect of them for our revenue. What we're looking at is both external and internal types, relationships, and hierarchies. And again, you can segment it and even have specific service offered at any of these organizations. And finally, like I said, customer product foundation, you're looking at both commercial, sold product, and technical install-based items. You expose the exact type of data and catalog. This is always a trick question I ask people. Do you relate a CI or an asset to a case? And people usually are like, yeah, it's ServiceNow. Well, no. This is your external CMDB, if you will, right? You should always have install base item or sold product at the forefront on a case. Never ever relate those other objects. And if you relate an asset, as we have it on FSM or even in some industry products, you only relate them because there's a pre-existing relationship with an install base item. And then you can prevent and predict, obviously, like I said, customers with alerting the wrong audience or, showing the heart of ServiceNow, which is, where you have all your secure data on the CMDB. So this is the value, right? When we start using these data models correctly, you see a faster time to value, that out of the box functionality gets truly used instead of customization. And then you can uptake all of those enhancements over time that we bring out of the box. Low maintenance, that means that you're reducing manual review and support needs after you go live. You are allowing scalability and innovation to truly be the focus of automation and not of humans. And then you have that better together. It doesn't matter if it's enterprise asset management, ITSM, the CMDB, SPM, like we were talking with PPM before, item. All of this data is consistent. And I will argue, right, if you're an ITIL purist, you're actually protecting ITIL and your effort is getting reduced. So this has an impact on customers, agents, admins, right? And again, on the platform layer we talked about, and even on the previously human behavior dimensions that we talked earlier, right? You'll see all of these actually come to life because that's how it was intended to be used, right? You're building discipline on the data input, and that's the main thing that a data model does. So let's now show you a demo of what that looks like. And let me bring my window here so I can show you from a configurable workspace what that looks like. So if you go into this menu, this list, what you're going to notice is that we're going to have some loading here of all the different information, right, that you usually will have. And that information, and let me go to the normal lists, it's right here on the customer side, starting with the who, say your accounts, right? There's some accounts that could be partners, right? The contacts or the users that are related to those accounts. You can see that relationship there with that class of user. Consumers over here, right? That initial piece when you are on a B2C. Maybe you want to group them. That's how you do households right there. And then the locations that they get service, right? All these different addresses that again have an impact on the overall data model. So going to accounts, I'm gonna do our dear Boxio here. In Boxio, there's again, not all the data has to reside in ServiceNow. So this was, as you can see, an integration. But you can see all the different account information, all the details, right? That we might have in here. Any orders that from a sum perspective that could have been added, any cases, as you can see here, some RMAs case types, some onboarding case types. You can tell by the prefix over here. And then you can see Julie here, that is a contact. And the main thing that you can also kind of start relating with is we talk about install base. So this is basically all the different sold products that we sold. And then we can go to something like Box Loyalty. You can see the hierarchy that came from a product model perspective before it was instantiated, right? My company is called Solana. So I sold them these two. And I can tell that Solana Cloud Optimization has not been sold because of the shopping cart. So the product is not purchased yet. So we could again trigger optionally a MACD flow from sales owner management to basically sell them that. The other piece is, that again, this is our product, and now we call this Boxy Loyalty because it's their instantiation, right? The main thing. The other piece is you can see again commercially those sold products. If you just wanna, bring it all the way down to the commercials, you can see the KX series. I added the word sold product for a reason that I'm going to show you in a second. You can create tickets even from here, but we're not going to do that. And then you can see that there's assets. Once again, these assets are all related to IBIs. That's the intended purpose of them. But it might be parts, it might be things that do not really make sense. So that's the reason we have that relationship here. Uh, See, here's the Solana KX series that I was showing you earlier, but now from an asset point of view. And then, like I said, here's the IBI, the KX series for Boxio, right? And you can even see it has a CI related to it. And if I click on that CI, it's going to give me your typical things that you will expect and even open a dependency view so the back office teams can see the architecture of these monitoring systems, right? So it's all connected, as you saw, from a front, middle, and back office all the way here. So now I'm gonna go into the B2B portal so you guys can see what that looks like, right? So this is Julie logged in, as you saw that, right? You can see she has an announcement for those specific routers. You can see we have all these different sold products. She can also just go to install base and see those objects we were talking about. You can see it right here, those KX series. Some products in this instance, there's the sold product, right? Some cases that have been open for this. Some, possible characteristics or outage history that you might have. And finally, going back to, all the different options, you have the relationship with assets, contacts she could manage because of her role, and even publications that are out there that are, once again, showing relevancy to the product she has. All right. And all of this, again, is data models working with each other. Now, coming back on my view on the back end, right, of ServiceNow, we also have what we call earlier, if you guys remember, the uh, service organizations, right, the internal or external business locations. So I just passed them. Here you go. Sorry. And I'm gonna open this internal one of LA City Center. You can see how we have all those different details. Right now we have types, right? It could be a location or a group, right? Something logical. You can also have subtypes under here. You can have again a relationship with a company if you wanted to. That's not required. You can serve all customers or just a specific set of them, and you can also look at making it either through a hierarchy or just through criteria, mostly like a shared service kind of perspective. And then we can see all those details over here as a single 360 view. and even a beautiful hierarchy that I really like. And you can see where we have, where we're locating that hierarchy and where we have cases open and that they need help. Um, Now, a big thing in all of this again is that that hierarchy is actually securing data, right? And that's what we were talking on the B2E scenario, right? Where you can see how in CSM you can actually open up all these different use cases. So my point of sale SAP instance not working. You can see the established is a POS at LA City Center, and this is being coming from a requesting service org, and the requested by is an employee, Alex Bossman, right? And this is a case, as you can see, right? And I can even summarize it with now assist. But the main thing that I hope you're looking at is that there's nothing on contact, account, consumer, or household selected, right? Because this is a B2E use case. So that's going to be different than the one that we're going to create in a second. All right, and then if you wanted to see this from, which this is getting refreshed, it's gonna be even more powerful. But you can see Alex here logged in, right? And then looking at the details of the business location, right? This is the case we were talking about. We can see that install base item over there. All those products have been deployed and those child business locations. So we have, like I said earlier, dedicated really portals for each of these personas. All right. And then um, as we go back to an agent view, let me just bring that here. So my other Sturgeon JSON here. This is because I was an admin before. Now um, you can always go ahead and create a new case, right? You can, as you can see, we can have case types, right? Where we have different secure and dynamic scope apps, right? Where you can build out your process, the form, the different attributes that you might need to triage this work, right? You can see it here. We can also do, an onboarding case, so it's a little bit different. You can see that the stages, the information that we're gathering, right? It's a little bit different. If it's a new customer, etc. But I'm just gonna do a normal case, and in this case, I want you to see the power of these data models working together, right? So if we select on these, all this information, imagine that, you get a phone call and you're working on this. Um, and like I said before, we just put KX series, which is that super we had before, in order to fulfill the product and the account. But maybe it's not just a commercial thing, it's a technical thing. So I select that Cake Series IBI that I showed you earlier, and now even Julie Lewis was selected because that's the contact that we have for that specific scenario here on B2B. And if this was being, I don't know, for some reason intake through a physical location, we could select it over here. But we're not going to do that, right? We're just going to continue. I'm just going to say issues with KX series just to have full documentation. All right. Here's your recommended actions if you wanted to do some of that, configure some of that that is AI based. Um, could be related articles, it could be, steps, it could be attachments, all sorts of things. And then as it loads it, right, I can just assign it to me. This is the playbook view. So it's we do have the as you can see here, um, these whole piece happening on the actual case, but this nice playbook guides them to an agent to continue on resolving everything they need from a quick glance. And then they can investigate, review all these details. They can confirm this, right? And be like, yeah, this is fine. Maybe we need to add a phone number to her, right? Again, you are injecting this information within her user profile in the overall platform. So if you add that phone number, other workflows will be able to use it also. Um, and then as you review the case details, right, we noticed that maybe it's a specific part that asset this needs to come on. So we can, as you can see, we have this only option here on asset. Um, and then, we make sure that that relationship, as you can see, IBI, SOPERG, everything is truly related. I'll open the IBI so you can see how this is truly, related. The CI, here's the asset, um, right? It's in use. Who supports it? Who is owning it? Right? Here's the contact I said before. The other thing that is missing, I'll just highlight, is the model category because of the product model. Didn't was just at the top level, but best practice would be to have that there. And by the way, this can have child IBIs over here, as you can see, with different components that might be under this KX series router. So, anyways, we can mark it as complete. We go on. You could even create, if you wanted, in the work in progress tasks within the case, or you could even relate, ITSM records such as an incident or a problem or request change if you needed that backend. But again, we are resolving. This is functioning correctly. So it's working as expected, right? And then, yeah, this is, you just mark it as complete, and this will just get into a resolved and close status, right? And it should be all good. So I'll just put my resolution code and so on. And we should be ready, right? All resolved. So this is the end to end of that B2B use case using IBI and the rest of the data models. And this will wait for going to its completion by itself. Now, landing it into B2C, I have a billing question here. I'll just kind of show you this one because it's already open. For B2C, we have maybe a different point of view. Maybe we need a summarization from Now Assist, right? It's Gen AI giving us a summarization of all this wording. TLDR, this is it. And I could even say, you know what, I want to compose an email that makes sense with all of these, uh, information that Sam sent us as on this B2C, but I don't know what to write. So you see this little, uh, context menu here with the stars. You can click on this, and it could generate a message, right? Now we have mode list dialog windows that you can move all across, so you can multitask. And we can refine this, shorten this. It's too much for an email to follow up on. So we can just, go through its different versions, copy it, or just insert it, right? And then send the email and be done with it. So this is, as you can see, allowing us to have all that context. Like I said, it's a contextual AI now because you're summarizing all of these non-purchase products, right? That you see here. These bill numbers. This is the, again, CDF coming here, Customer Data Foundation. And then, of course, you could be bringing any other sort of, product model here, um, bringing all of them working together. And just to kind of close it off on an AI piece, you could always copy. As you can see, this is the view for Now Assist. You could always copy that summarization scale and bring that context over here, right? When you are actually gathering details and changing its input. So if you do something like that, I'm just gonna say account. We want to make sure that every time we summarize, it's looking at the account. We can put something like, you know what, this is because this is the prompt, right? This is what you're telling the LLM to understand. This is the who is reporting the issue from a customer side, and maybe through service org. Oh, right? We wanna say these are who is reporting the issue, and maybe the what will be the install base item, right? So there you go. You can select that, and then you can say, well, these are the details of what is wrong with it, right? And then sold product. So you get the idea, right? You're bringing all of these very, very detailed perspective on our CRM foundation versus what you have, already in your platform. So it's truly talking through all these pieces. And then you can add more, condition sets and so on, and even related lists and tables. So you just go and save and continue, and it will, again, do this customization of the prompt and even customize the output depending on the different layers, right, of states. All right. So we only have 5 more minutes, so let's come back and wrap it up. When it talk about data, this is the AI first. data governance principles. It should be available. It should be representative. It should be high quality, well governed, and secure. All of these are really principles that we should always follow when we bring in data. Just don't bring data because you can, right? You should be able to not only structure it, but also look at what is relevant and accurate, right? Because as we always say, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you bring the wrong data, you're going to confuse the LLM, right? Remember that LLMs, their nature is probabilistic, right? And so it will always give you an answer. And it might even be a wrong answer or a hallucination if you don't ground it in the truth of your business objects. So in order to bring that formula we talked at the very beginning, right? That AI plus data plus workflow, and actually make it contextual, use our out-of-the-box connectors, right? The Spoke or Integration Hub APIs. Any data source, right? Like streaming data, zero copy partners like Snowflake or Databricks that we have today. And then you can visualize it to a knowledge graph, right? You're aggregating all these different user data, these schemas, right, to create a structured format for easy consumption by the workflows, leading to a more personalized, or you might call it context-rich, intelligent user experience. And then once you're ready with that, right? Even as part of our recent acquisition, we released recently external content connectors where it could be SharePoint or Google Drive, and then you're connecting those pieces of data here on your AI search, for example. You're integrating all of these, digitizing those manual processes, but also you are personalizing AI, right? It's really two things at once. And of course, once you structure it, now you're giving it its purpose, its meaning, and its scalability, as I said before. It's built into a single platform and data model for the future proof of AI, right? And the onset of AI to a one architecture and one data model. And of course, you have security, a trusted infrastructure that we make everything stand apart while taking action on that data with Now Assist, as I just showed you with summarization or tailoring that skill for you. Maybe an AI agent, maybe a workflow, maybe an analytics dashboard that is giving you the truth. And now, of course, this is all powered by RaptorDB, which allows you to run 27 times faster any sort of workflow or report, right? So as I said, allow your eventual AI agents to execute a wide range of activities efficiently, right? From automating routine tasks to managing complex workflows without the human oversight. So in summary, give it context, give it a scalability, right? It's a tactical better together. And with the rest of the workflows, give it truly a life cycle. This is the utilization of a canonical data model that we can reutilize all the way from sales, lead to cash, opportunity quote, to service assurance in a single and consistent experience while you're getting it enhanced. You're separating business versus technical processes, right? Not everything needs to be an incident or request. Actually, most of the things should be just a case, no matter if it's broken or not, right? It could be a complaint, it could be onboarding, it could be support for that order, a sales exception, service to sales use cases, and other non-technical business or admin processes. Keep it compliant with CSDM. We're about to release CSDM V5 later in the year. All of that will be in sync. You'll be prepared for it. It will make sense. You're simplifying the intake, right? Like unknown errors, troubleshooting through case. And that way you do not customize ITIL, right? Don't make ITIL do something it wasn't designed for. That whole overhead is not needed. You're increasing, though, service management principles through the maturity of those non-IT groups. I will always recommend you using the capability matrix. We'll put that on the chat so you can download it. This capability matrix is basically, think about it as I want pizza and what are the ingredients I want on the pizza, right? And so these are the top functionalities. We encourage you, to just categorize them for your implementation. Maybe you don't need to use it. Maybe it needs to be enhanced. Maybe you need to implement it now, next, or later in next year, right? And remember about CRM Foundation where it's located. Make sure you always use that it's updated per your needs and per what you expect it to be. So again, not everything out of the box is best practice. You need to use it on the right context. So I hope today's session was interesting. I hope you saw the dots connecting from AI to data and workflows. And you start using all of these artifacts. And as we go and dive deeper into other industry sessions, right, you see all of these data objects being repeated, but now within that context. And you will also see all these biggest pieces that we have in the overall platform with AI.